Yeah, you're live.
Hello, welcome to a special episode of the Free Fire Pro Podcast. I'm here with my co-host with the most, Trashman Gaming. Trashman, say hi to everybody.
Oh, hey, everybody. Sorry, we're still getting some
You're
controls
Trashman,
down.
yeah. That's you. You're a Trashman.
No. We're still getting some controls. This new audio and software is pretty awesome, but take us a minute.
Well, Trashman's here, so we're working on a new system. He said that's hello from Trashman. As we're talking about Free Fire gun changes that we want to see in the game. We need some feedback from you because one of the great things about being in the Free Fire Influencer Program is we get to pass on direct feedback from ourselves to Mr. Free Fire himself. And you know, Mr. Free Fire, he loves Dadventurer and he wants to change things. So we're very excited about where we're going in the Free Fire world. So I'm excited for it, Tik Tok. Good to see you here. I don't know if we're live on the other channels. We'll see. Oh yeah, it looks like we might be live on the other channel. So say hello for my friends on Charles over there on Facebook and those on YouTube. So we want you to participate in this chat because what we're going to do from this conversation is take the feedback and take it to our friends at Free Fire. And so if you want to see changes to certain weapons, if you want to see an overhaul of the entire weapon system, if you want to see Free Fire do some amazing things with the guns in the game, now is the time to tell us because we will take that feedback directly to the top as well as far as the top goes for us here in North America. So I hope you're excited about it. I see some MP40, some fixed chrono. Listen, we're going to talk about character changes in another one of these special episodes. But this one we're going to keep strictly to gun changes. How should we change the weapons? What's up to all of you out there? I see you over on YouTube. I see you on Facebook. And I see you on TikTok. Those of you are out there. And so, Trashman, I know you have lots of opinions about the guns in the game because everybody has lots of opinions about the guns in Free Fire. Do you have any like overarching thoughts as we kind of get this show started? And then we're going to go in and ask the chat specifically about some of the things we're going to discuss in this episode.
Well, first thing, I believe the guns drastically need something because they are too close together on a lot of different aspects. Some of the reload animations, I mean, you got a belt-fed gun and you can reload it as fast as an AR. The animation's even the same. So I don't care as much about the animation as the reload time because these are little things that in other games that we've played can play a huge factor in having us.
It's a giant clip of ammo, and all you do is just go, you know, just like all the other guns. I mean, it doesn't even work in real life. So I think it does matter. I don't know what our fans think that are watching and listening in the chat, but let me know. Does it matter that an M60 that has a giant container of bullets reloads exactly like an AR or an MP40? You guys let me know. Do you care about the reload, what it looks like in the reload speed? I think it does matter. If I'm using an M60, it should take 3 times longer to load than an MP40 that has just a stick magazine. So that's what I think. I don't know. What do you think chat's going to think about this, Trashman?
I feel like there's going to be similar beliefs on that one for sure. And then another big one, and going back to like the bullets and the reloading and everything, is like with SMGs, they usually are quicker, and it's just not the same. So, what do you think? What do you think is the next?
Well, I see that chat says we got GNOYT over on. Looks like he's listening and watching on YouTube. Says that the FAMAS is trash. Well, GNOYT, you have never truly used the FAMAS with all of its capabilities because that gun shreds in the right hands. And in Dadventurer's hands, it's a deadly weapon. But I agree with you that compared to some of the other guns, the FAMAS may be considered a little bit trashier, but it's still a good gun in the right hands. So the M60 reloads faster than the M10. I know! Like, listen, I can put a shotgun shell in a gun in real life faster than I can change a belt-fed magazine on M60. It's just not the same. And so that's what some of the things that we want to give feedback to Free Fire and say there exists an opportunity in Free Fire to add a little bit more realism, at least in the mechanics of how you play the guns, which would make, I think, the game, 1, more fun, 2, more competitive, and 3, much more strategic to play, choose your weapons depending on the situations. Because I'm not going to take the M60 in a situation where I know I can't reload that gun when I can take some other gun that I can reload 3 times faster so that I can get back into the engagement. It's just going to balance the damage ratio. But if it's going to take forever, Trashman, to reload an M60, shouldn't the M60 do a lot more damage comparatively because it's a big light machine gun than, say, an MP40? What do you think?
Not really going to jump on that train with you, Kyle. I think that the LMGs are not made exactly in most games to be like these high damage outputs. They are good to play just beyond that medium into the long range game and be used as the tactic of suppressive fire. So yes, they could probably put a little bit more damage up on them, but that key element of being able to hold off the enemy, I think, is vital, and it would change a lot of things.
Yeah, the M10 takes the longest to reload than the Brown Sniper. Well, here, the M10 that I have is the Dragon M10. It takes so long. I think I'm going to, by the time that gun reloads, I might be almost dead. That's how long it takes. It takes years to reload, it feels like. So you get one clip, and then you're done, because if you try to reload, you're going to get shot, and you got to just switch weapons. So that's kind of what we're doing in the game. And so that's kind of where we're at with everything that's going on. And so let's talk about some specifics. So chat, we want your opinion. Yeah, the Evo M10 takes forever. I agree. Let's talk. We're going to get your opinions. We're going to call you out on the show. We're also going to take what we think is legitimately good advice, back to Free Fire and say, hey, this is what we think we should be done with these guns. So that's where we're at. So let me talk about the guns as in the game, the state of the guns, Trashman. In the game right now, we have statistics for each gun based on range, armor penetration, damage, reload speed, magazine, and accuracy. I think there's only 6. Now, chat can tell me. There might even be a movement one now, but I don't know if that's legitimate or not. But there's 6 or 7 right now. Chat, let me know if I've got any of those wrong. But I think that those are the base statistics that the weapons have. The problem is, in the game, Trashman, an MP40 operates a lot like some of the ARs. There's not much difference between an AR in the game than some of the better SMGs. Like the UMP was better than grabbing any AR off the rack in any game until they just gave it a nerf. And so what do you think about somehow how these guns are just so similar in Free Fire?
Yeah. I remember the UMP days, because the UMP was essentially the best gun to get into range. But they do have to fix the coefficients, really bring those SMGs into the short range goal, and each weapon coming in and out of those classes. That's for the range. Now, armor pen, another one that you brought up, I've never noticed a difference on any guns with the armor pen. So that's...
No. The armor penetration feels like a dead stat. Doesn't feel like really anything's going on with armor penetration. We do have in the chat, Senko Gad over on YouTube says, and Rate of Fire. So that's one we knew about that we didn't have in there, but Rate of Fire definitely is one of them. Thank you, Senko Gad, for picking that up. So we see a discussion going on both on TikTok right now and on YouTube about the Groza. Trashman, everybody's saying the Groza is OP, and guess what? They're right. The new Groza is OP. Like, that's why the Groza was not wasn't available before, because it was OP, and now they put out gun skins for it, which made it even more OP, and you can get it more often. So it's like they just need to work on balancing some of these guns around, and so that's some of what they're saying here. So I don't know if you've played with the Groza that much, but when we look at range, armor penetration, damage, reload speed, magazine accuracy, and rate of fire, what do you think? Do you think those are sufficient to give variety across the numerous weapons in the game, or do you think that that's a good place to start, but nowhere near where they need to go to really vary these weapons?
Yes, I think it's a good starting point. There's a lot more dynamics that need to be added. One for me, and I know we've talked about this several times, is the movement. We can't confirm that right now. There's been some rumors that there is and isn't. But, Kyle, do you think you could run down the road with an LMG just as fast as a pistol?
No, I think you can always move faster with the pistol. I think one of the best things that could happen immediately out of the gate, next update in Free Fire, is change the movement speed per weapons. If you're running with a pistol, you should move faster than you're running with an LMG. You really don't. Not enough that matters in the game. You should feel super sluggish with a heavier gun, which should be a penalty to taking a gun that does more damage at range versus a gun like a pistol. I feel like if I'm getting a pistol and a gun, I don't want a little tiny speed burst. I want to feel like I'm moving significantly faster because I'm running with a pistol. That needs to be advantaged. Now, the difference between in Free Fire and other games is you can hit massive headshot damage with claw from range. A lot of other gun games don't have that kind of thing. So I think maybe they've balanced that a little bit. But in other games, if you run around even without a weapon, you're going to move faster. And so I'd like to see movement speed be a bigger difference between the different guns, especially the gun categories: shotguns versus pistols, shotguns versus ARs, ARs versus SMGs, SMGs versus LMGs, snipers especially. I'd like to see those be some more significant differences than they already are, to allow a different strategy of gameplay, and to know that if I want to move into battle, I'm not going to be able to carry a double sniper and move across the map anywhere near as fast as if I'm carrying a submachine gun and a single sniper, which would make people have to use more strategy playing this game. Trashman, you know how to play other games that have that kind of strategy. I think you would appreciate that in Free Fire.
Oh yeah, especially as someone who's a huge support role. I mean, you've never, Kyle, can you mention one time that you've ever seen me just rush in, guns blazing? So for it, the support class is all I ever run. That would be huge, being able to actually have a sniper set in that role for range and stuff. But another one too is the ADS. I think that could throw a lot of your people that are essentially one-tapping, like with the snipers, that can mess them up, or at least you would see them have to think through or do their controls a little bit better on that one. And it really is. There's no difference in the ADS.
Yeah, I mean, so for those of you in chat, I see some of the chat conversations about the sensitivity there over on TikTok. I see Red Zone, what you're saying. Also, I see that some of the conversation from Javi, Lalo, talking about the SCAR being the best. Guys, we appreciate this feedback. That's great. Some of the things that we would like to see the Trashman saying brought to the game is some different characteristics that are pertinent to making the guns different. One is, we call it ADS. ADS. That's aim down sight speed. So we want to see the guns have different aim down sight speed. I should be able to aim down the sights of a pistol much faster than I aim down the sights of a submachine gun. And then they should be able to aim down the sights of a submachine gun, the small gun, which is more compact, faster than I'm aiming down the sights of an AR. And then when it comes to a big old LMG, that should take forever to aim down the sights, because it's just the reality of movement that comes with playing those classes of guns. And I know a lot about Free Fire is trying to make the data work on phones of all devices across the world. But I don't think the tweaks to some of these numbers is going to be that much of a data overload to make the game unplayable. I think it's just someone going in and taking all these guns and tweaking them, and then every update they tweak them again, and then we talk about how, oh no, they ruined the MP40, they got this gun's now OP. That's part of the fun of playing battle royale games, where there's differences in the abilities of guns. And so I want to see, and Trashmans want to see, we want to see that the guns take a different amount of time for you to look down the sight. That way, in a competition where you're going one-on-one, you might choose to take an MP5 versus a SCAR, because you know it's going to take forever to look down that SCAR. But even within the submachine gun categories, some of those guns should be faster to look down the sights than the other guns, which should be a little bit bigger. An MP5 in the game is a little bit smaller than the MP40 or the UMP in the graphics, so there should be a little bit of a change. And so I think that should be a good thing. Trashman, I know you think that. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about why you think ADS is important as we ask chat? Chat, what do you think about aiming down the sight speed? Do you think we should change the gun so that it changes how you look down the gun sights?
Yeah, and ultimately the ADS is what I think. Well, ADS and mobility is what really makes the guns have their own unique feel. Like you said, SMGs, they're running, gunning, they're snappy. You can throw them up, you can hip fire. As of right now, there's none of that I'm noticeably seeing. If it's very minuscule, and they've got to change those coefficients for it. And you do jump on some like AAA games and stuff like that, but every gun is different. There's no two that feel the same, and I would like to see that.
Yeah. So here's what they're saying in chat. We asked them about this, Trashman, and there's some good feedback, guys. I see all those comments coming through. Mr. Shimmy, DZK Blue. We got comments on Facebook and YouTube. Anthony Riviera over on TikTok. Add settings like they can drop left or right like PUBG. I don't know. That's a lot harder to do than changing the sight speed of how fast that gun comes up. But DZK Blue on YouTube said, normally the first person who shoots has the advantage. And that's true in Free Fire, that if you shoot first, you're going to win 90% of the time because there's no difference in gun. Both guns go at the same rate. I think they come up at the same rate, whether it's an AR versus a submachine gun. So whoever gets the gun up first wins. That's how I feel in the game. I love Free Fire, but I would love to know that if I run into battle with a certain gun at close range, I'm going to have a better benefit against someone with a gun not as well equipped for a short range competition. And so even if I get jumped, I may be able to turn around and get that shot because I have the right gun for the situation. That's called strategy, and that's called really honing these in to make them more particular for gameplay styles. And so that's why we want to see aim down sight speed enter into the game. Yeah, because really some of these are not as transformative as others. And so that's one of the things we want to see is aim down sight speed. But there's a metric that I don't believe is in the game that I think is important to me, Trashman. Can you explain what sprint to fire speed is and how that speed is different from movement speed or aim down sight speed?
Right, so sprint to fire is a kind of a combination between mobility and ADS, and it further changes the feel of the gun completely. And that goes back to the size of the gun and stuff like that. If you're running and try to whip up an LMG, significantly heavier gun, and what that would be seen is when you're coming in those gunfights around the corner, you don't know that person's there, and it's close range battles. That's really where you're going to get beat out with SMGs versus assault rifles and different things. So it in turn, with the strategy, it does make those players be a little bit more cautious. Right now in the game, Kyle's absolutely right. Whoever's the first on the draw usually is the winner, unless they're going up against like the MP40 or the Groza.
Right. Yeah, so sprint to fire speed to me, that's what you're saying is if I run around the corner and I got a pistol, I should be able to pull that gun up faster than the guy that I run into who may be holding a submachine gun. I should be able to get up and get a shot on him before he gets his gun up and gets a shot at me. That's sprint to fire speed. If he's holding a Groza, which is OP right now, if he's holding a Groza, there's no way he should get a shot off at the same time as me or before. I should be able to get my gun up and get a shot, maybe two off before him, because I'm carrying a pistol, and it should be faster to get from sprinting with a pistol to firing than it is a big giant gun like a Groza. That's just reality. We want to see that kind of realism come into the game. I don't care then if the Groza is OP at its current rate, as long as you can't pull it up as fast as you pull up a pistol. because that would change some mechanics of the game. And yeah, I know I'll change some one-taps for you guys because you won't be able to take certain guns into a one-tap event because they'll be too slow. That's fine. You guys all like shotguns and pistols anyway, so it shouldn't affect them too much. But it needs to be more realistic in the game, because I think that's what we want from Free Fire. We want more realism in the graphics as it goes, and we want more realism in the gameplay.
Absolutely. Sorry, I thought I lost you there for a second. Yeah, these are tweaks that I feel like if they put a little bit of work into it, 6 months, I could say they could have a very unique feel on these guns. And another thing with it is you don't really ever see metas or, you know, these S tier guns pop up in Free Fire like you do with the changes of other games. I don't know if it's just a slower change or there's not as much change there, but I think the last one that I remember that was like me and you felt was truly overpowered would be the XM8. The Destiny XM8?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been moments with certain guns being kind of the OP S tier guns, but really it hasn't changed much with being in Free Fire. The MP40 is still a deadly gun. The UMP is still a deadly gun, even though they nerfed it. When it comes to assault rifles, the AK is still the elite assault rifle for the most part, although they've beefed up some other ones. And when it comes to shotguns and pistols, we know which ones are best. And so that's kind of where it comes in. And a lot of it goes to everything so even. What ends up being making a gun more OP is really the accuracy of the gun compared to the accuracy of the gun it's against, because the range is going to be the same. I've done gun tests on all these guns when it comes to range, and there's not much range variation over these guns. Some of these guns can shoot 100 meters that should never be able to shoot 100 meters. We shouldn't have an MP40 shooting 100 meters and doing 50 headshot damage. It's just not going to do that kind of damage at range compared to an assault rifle, because 100 meters in Free Fire, it's as far as you can see, so it's as far as you can shoot. And so if it's as far as you can see, that means your guns have to go backwards from 100 meters. And so your snipers and assault rifles should do the most damage at 100 meters, and your submachine gun should barely even reach there, because that's your ultimate range. And then it should work its way back down. The problem, I think, has been over time, we're starting to work our way back down, but maybe not fast enough to bring a full level of competitive gameplay into the game.
Right, and I, just as probably the more knowledgeable of weapons out of the two of us, Kyle, the SMGs would shoot that 100 meters, but I think it really comes down to where would that bullet be going.
Right, yeah. It would shoot 100 meters. But it's probably so inaccurate, it's not hitting its target. Right. Because the variation of the bullets coming out at that distance, you would be hitting so infrequently, you wouldn't want to shoot an SMG at 100 meters. And so it's bringing that realism. And we see on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and all these other channels, we appreciate you guys' comments. We see them, especially those who are talking about one-tapping. Like, listen, one-tapping is a great thing. But one-tapping has really been created by a game that has very little variation in its weapons. We're starting to get more variation out of the last two patch notes. The last two updates, OB33 and OB32, did give us patch notes and let us know that they are working on changing the guns. The big one that's happened now, and you guys can comment on the social media channels, they made the M500 a lot less potent when it comes to headshot damage. So much so that one-tappers don't even like to use the M500 because you can't take someone down with a headshot early on in the game, especially if they're wearing armor. And so I've heard a lot of complaints about it, but I think it's a good change to the game. And I think they need to do it to the Deagle, and they need to hit the M500 and the Deagle again to make, but beef them up at short range, because the Desert Eagle at short range should be the most brutal gun in the game. What I think is if you hit a nice shot.
Right. You said the M500 on that one? All right. Sorry, I was talking.
At short range, for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes, the shotguns definitely should be deadly, but when it comes to a gun that has more range than the shotguns, I think the Deagle should be one that has that one bullet should be powerful and proficient, but it shouldn't be that powerful at 75 meters, which unfortunately I can go to some of the boards, go take a shot from the start across the entire map and hit 495 on an opponent on the other side. That's just not realistic with a deagle. There's not a lot of realism there, and it changes the value of competition because the deagle plays like an assault rifle.
Yeah, I've never really messed with the deagle, but I will get on that train with you. Just given on the fact that I know weapons. Like most people that join my stream know I was in the military, and so I look at things as what's this gun do in real life versus what's it doing in the game, and that thing is a hog firing. At one point, I think there's a couple that beat it now, but it's still probably top 5 for most powerful handguns in the world. But here's the other thing. The recoil on that will about break your wrist. And we don't see that in the game affect the accuracy at all. Right. I mean, Kelly, 110-pound character in the game's firing this thing, whereas Kyle would be blowing it behind his head.
Yeah, I mean, in real life, the deagle would be, the recoil would be like that. We don't get that in the game. That means your next shot's going to take forever to shoot and be super inaccurate. That is not what we see the deagle. We see run. It's not realistic. It's not how the deagle would play in real life. What I want to see is someone who understands actual real guns. I've held guns and shotguns. I want to see those guns have some more of the real life characteristics. Now, I know a game can't be totally real, but the guns shouldn't be so similar that you could grab any gun off the shelf and use it. You should take certain guns for certain playstyles to emphasize the person that you are in the game and how you best play the game. And you may be a character who the MP40 fits your gameplay perfect. You may be a character who the M10 fits your gameplay perfect. You may someone who be the Parafoul fits your gameplay perfect. But you don't know when all the guns are so similar. There's not enough variety for you to find the right guns for you at all times.
And could I cut you off on that one real quick too? And something that I seen come up with one of the new game releases, and I've always wondered about this, is Recoil Recovery. So that's how quickly you are recovering on that recoil. And I think that game got it perfect because they had an LMG on there that, if you look back into how that gun fired, controls and stuff that probably most gamers don't care about. But anyways, that was it. That was how it was. And just as fast as the recoil or accuracy expands on that, what's it called? It's a coefficient, but the circle and stuff like that, the rate of which it comes back should be just as important.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, I'm getting good feedback here in the chat right now from DZK Blue is pitching in. Javi saying the shooting animations could be better. Yes. There's a lot of things that could be better. Like give us doors, give us windows, give us some glass to break. But like DZK is saying in the comments that the Desert Eagle headshot's the same. It's actually better than all the ARs. I don't think there's any AR with better headshot damage than the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle has by far the most at long range. It's insane. That's not even realistic. Some of those ARs should have higher headshot damage than the Desert Eagle for sure. And I think the ARs still have too much headshot damage. Although my headshot damage never counts. I can hit a guy 110 damage for 4 times in a row. He still doesn't go down. I don't know how that happens. But and so we're talking about the guns here. And so some of those things we want to see them. We want to see them change so the game continues to have playability, because there's nothing like having to figure out, okay, which gun should I take in this match, in this situation? Because it's not always going to be the double vectors. It's not always going to be the UMP. It's not always going to be the AWM. You're going to have to figure out, based on the situation of the game, there's going to be guns that are going to be super helpful and beneficial. There's going to be guns that you don't want to get caught dead with in your hand. That would make the game so much more playable, and finding the right loot would be huge for you in the game. But right now, you can take any loot off the ground and play basically the same game. And I want to see us be able to have to play a different game depending on what guns are in your hand, because the gameplay style is so different based on the rate of fire, based on the aim down sight speed, based on the sprint to fire speed, based on modifying the headshot and range systems of damage so they're more realistic across the board. And when you start doing stuff like that, Free Fire becomes a really strategic and fun game to play at all times.
Now you're talking about ground loot and these changes making that uh, change up different people's strategy. What do you think about different tiers of ground loot via, there are some attachments you can get in Free Fire, but what about dropping and finding an MP40 with a silencer? Would you think that would change things off the rip for the better as to how teams move about, or no?
In the ground loot,
Right.
I mean, I think the ground loot always changes. What you get changes on your team functions, but like now, it doesn't really matter. Like if you tell me, "Hey, I got this gun," well, it's just like this gun. Like if you got a SCAR and I got an AK, I don't really care. They play the same. Like they're really, other than the rate of fire being different, they're really not that much different. And so like there, I could take one and play just as well as the other. Now, if those guns had differences of aim down sight speed, they had different sprint to fire speed, I may find that one of those guns is much more appealing to me based on my play style. If I'm someone who rushes in, I may want a SCAR that has a better aim down sight speed, a better sprint to fire speed than that heavy AK. But if I'm someone who's going to sit back at range and the AK has all the range benefits that the SCAR doesn't have because of the way the guns have been modified, I'm going to take that AR that's a better medium to long range gun because that's my play style. But we don't get those kind of decisions. We don't have to make those kind of decisions because every gun is so similar in each class. There's just not a real necessity. You can take whatever you find and play with it until you find something that looks prettier based on your gun skins.
What do you think which classic gun do you think suffers the worst right now? You think it's SMGs? Do you think it's ARs, snipers? Um, and then how could we ultimately fix that class?
I mean, I think right now in the game, there's some things that got to be changed. The being able to do the double sniper glitch, it's just not realistic to shoot snipers that fast. I'm enjoying it right now, but it's not realistic. They've even made it slower to try to slow it down. I think that to me, the LMGs are pointless in the game. They really are pointless. They're not good enough to be LMGs, and they're not really good enough as LMGs to replace any gun in the inventory unless you're desperate enough to pick it up. I just think the LMGs just need a lot of help. And so for me, the ARs and the submachine guns are probably the most consistent of the guns in the game. Shotguns are shotguns. You get close, you don't want to be near a shotgun. I think the pistols are broken and all have been broken for a long time. And I think those need fixed because they're just generally too OP for being what they are as pistols. But I think that the LMGs are kind of pointless in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one. Uh, and I don't really know what they could do to fix them outside of some of the things that we're talking about. Like, there's nothing in the current state that they are that's going to improve them drastically. So, I mean, why do you think Free Fire's waiting or just hasn't done anything with weapons? Do you think it's just the natural progression of the game, or do you think it's something else, Kyle?
I think it's natural progression of the game. I think that we see that they're wanting to change the guns. Like I look here and Lee Kun on TikTok says they need to fix the range of the SCAR. I agree. And so as I look over on YouTube, we got to talk about the double Car 98s OP. Car 98s OP in a lot of games. So we play some Warzone together. But I think for me, it seems as though they're ready to really work on the guns based on what's happening. That's why I think they're excited about feedback from players like us. And so I want to take the feedback that we're getting from chat and take it to Free Fire and say, this is what the community wants to see. We want to see variety in the guns. We like the guns, but we know the guns are broken. I think we all know the Deagle's broken. It's fun to play with, but it's broken. The Groza, fun to play with, but it's broken. The AK, it's fun to play with, but it's kind of broken. And so when we look at that, the UMP was super fun to play with for a long time. Way broken. They fixed a little bit, still broken. And so if they fix these guns and make them more like they should be as guns for those weapons that they are, it'll be so much more fun to play. And for me, then I'll have all this fun time trying to figure out which gun's right. in which situation. And then that means I'm going to play the game more. I'm going to talk about the game more. I'm going to talk about it with my friends more because I'm going to like, Trashman, why do you use this gun? What's the ADS speed in this gun? What's the reload speed in this gun? Like, then I'm going to have all these conversations about Free Fire. And that's really what Free Fire wants, is us to talk more about the game, play the game. And so that's kind of what Jesse's saying. The UMP not broken at all. No, it's not broken as much, but it's still one of the better, if not the best. I think still the best SMG in the game. The MP40 can be in situations depending on gun skins, but the Gator UMP still is a beast, and still is more chosen, I think, right now than the MP40. You're muted there, Trashman.
There we go. We'll get this software down. That's why we're running these tests, right? So I had a thought there, and then as soon as you told me you were muted, I lost it. So
we were just talking about the guns, just the balancing of them. And so in the next, we'll break down the guns again here in the future. We'll talk more about the guns because we're actually putting a very compiled list of gun changes that we're going to recommend to Garena. Garena has requested this. We said, hey, give us your feedback. We want to know your feedback on the guns. And so as they move into OB34 coming up in a month, I want to have my feedback before they decide to move forward with this. I want to see Dadventurer requested gun changes in the game. I think you guys too. No, the MP5 is garbage now. It's not a good gun. So you trying to mess with my precious Free Fire. No, we're trying to make Free Fire playable for decades. Don't you want this game to still be around 10 years? And trust me, being that I'm from the North America server, I see games come and go all the time. And one of the things that makes a gun super playable over the long term is having weapons that are so different from each other, the community can't help to be excited and fight about them all the time. We talk about them and talk about them and talk about them. And then when one rises to the level of OP, the game nerfs it. And then we talk about how much we hate the nerf and how much this new gun rises up. And then we switch guns, and then we just goes back and forth. And that's what makes you fall in love with the game over and over and over. Yes, you're frustrated with them, but yes, you're talking about it. You're spreading the game to other people. And that's what I know Free Fire wants for this game. The fans to continue to talk and talk. That's why we're doing a podcast. Because, listen, you guys all play Free Fire, but you know you think about Free Fire all the time when you're not playing. Well, this podcast is for you, to help you guys figure out what's going on in the game, to talk about it, to break down what you think, and then to get feedback directly to Free Fire. We're taking what you think to Free Fire. You guys that are in the chat right now, we're paying attention. We're going to have these chats for later. I'm going to break down your comments, and the good comments that I think are good that need to go on, I'm taking your information right to the top of where I can get to here in North America. So,
yeah, I mean, Kyle, you spend more time on the phone with Garena than probably any of us.
Definitely.
Bar none. So these comments are great, and I think it takes the community to make the game continue to improve, be vital for years and years to come. And Free Fire's spending the money. Me and Kyle both know they're spending the money, so we would like to see some money spent on some people to make some changes towards these, because it would make it fun. I know nobody likes change, right, Kyle? But these would be things to make it very, very interesting, in my opinion.
Right, yeah. So we want to see these changes and more. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do at least two more of these in the next few days. So when you see us go live and you see we're talking about guns, bring your feedback. Think about the guns. What would make these guns better? What would make them more playable? What would make them so different from each other that it'd be fun to come up with the reason why you would take this gun over that gun? Why would you take the MP5 over the MP40? Why would you take the UMP over the MP5? Why would you select the guns that you select in the game? Why would you take one shotgun over another? Why would you take a shotgun over an SMG and really have a real purpose for it than just liking the animation on the shotgun and liking that you could have more bullets to do damage at close range? There's got to be more reasons to choose guns than just those few differences that we have, and there can be. And so we can be a part of helping Free Fire make some of those changes. So I'm excited to talk about this with you guys more in the future. Thanks for listening to us talk about this special edition of Free Fire Pro Podcast. We're talking about gun weapon changes that we want to see. And hopefully on the next one, you'll be able to talk with Trashman, myself, some more about how you'd like to see some of these guns get changed.
So on that one, are we out, Kyle? Or because I,
We're
I
out.
did have
Yeah,
some.
we're out.
All right.
We're also doing, so here as we close, so we're officially closed there. But as we're closing, we're trying some new stuff. So let me tell you about some things you need to know about. Because we are doing a Free Fire Pro podcast, we're doing a St. Patrick's Day tournament. It's going to be legit. It's going to be exclusive. If you want to participate, you must go to our Discord and sign up. You have to have a headshot. You have to be able to send us a picture of that's a headshot. Like, we're going to use that headshot. You're going to be on the stream. Your picture's going to be on the stream, where you have to be able to do an interview before the stream. This is going to be pro level exposure for those of you who are going to play. We're going to have 4 teams of 4 players. It's going to be one tournament on one day on the 17th. It's going to be epic. You're going to have intros and team logos. It's going to be awesome. We're very excited about it. But you got to have to be able to be there, be able to have the headshot, and for those that are captains, you got to be able to do that. Also, we want you to go to our website, freefirefamily.com. Check it out. We got articles every day for you. We're going to have more articles about stuff like this gun weapons changes. We want you to go there and put in your comments what you think we should do with these guns. We're going to take those comments and we're going to compile that information, take it to Free Fire. I had an hour-and-a-half call with Free Fire last week. 1.5 hour of a call with Free Fire, talking about all kinds of stuff. This information is going back to Free Fire. It's going to be your information. This is your chance to have a voice with Free Fire. I'm trying to give it to you. But you got to do something about it. You got to participate. You got to share. You got to let us know what's going on. And then over at our website, freefirefamily.com, we're giving away 100 diamonds every day. So what you can do right now is we've got 26 minutes left. I got to pick a winner for today's giveaway. So you guys can help me do that. You don't have to do anything other than go to the website and comment. I'm going to tell you how many comments are on the last post, and then we just pick one at random. And so it's all fair and above board. We do it. We have you guys do it, and then that's the winner. So it's pretty simple. All right, so I'm going to the website. The article today, we have 16 comments. Out of the 16 comments, I got to take out any repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Skip that guy. He already entered. We got 15. So I need you guys in chat to give me a number between 1 and 15. When 2 of you pick the same number, that's the winner. So tell me on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Dlive, Trovo, Booyah app, you name it. Pick a number between 1 and 15. When 2 of you pick the same number, that's the winner. Can't be the same person. Tell me twice. All right, we got number 6, got number 14, number 15, number 10. What I got? 11. I got a 5. I got a 3, I got a 2. Why do you guys pick on a 6? Dark Pro, you can't pick 6. Oh, it's 6. 2 people pick 6. Different people. All right, number 6 is the winner. So number 6, you guys can't see this because I'm not streaming on my own stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mr. Killer FF. Mr. Killer FF is the winner. Mr. Killer FF goes by the nickname Venom in the game, and he's from North America. So he'll get posted that he's the winner. Thank you guys for helping me. He'll receive his 100 diamonds here just as soon as we end this. And so that's going to happen. So we're excited about that. Yeah, I see Real G for life. That Alpine's laggy, too many bugs. I'll pass that information on. That's always happens every time a new map comes in.
I mean, we could
kind of get it fleshed out.
We could do a whole episode on just the bugs in the game.
Yeah, we could. Really. So check out the podcast. If you haven't went and listened to the Free Fire Pro podcast, you can go listen to our Discord. You can find it through our website. You can go to anywhere that podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Stitcher, Amazon Music Podcasts, Spotify is where a lot of you listen to it. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts and search Free Fire Pro podcast, you can listen to our podcast. This episode will be on the podcast within the next 24 hours, so you can listen and participate. We're very excited about that. So you can hear all of this. You can hear your name shout out. You can go say, Mom, listen, they just mentioned me on this show. We right now want to be the #1 podcast in English for Free Fire across the globe. That's the goal, and you guys can help us make it there, and we're very excited. So thanks for listening. Thanks for participating in this conversation, and we'll talk more about gun weapon changes here in the future. Thanks, and good night.